We live in a world where everything must be known. Everyone must explain, analyze, prove, respond. And if you pause, if you say I don't know, it's seen as weakness. But there are moments when not knowing is pure power. Moments when you choose not to explain. When you simply exist. And that presence without defense, without display is your most charismatic state. The charisma of not knowing means you don't reveal everything. Not because you're clueless, but because you understand that mystery is more captivating than clarity. That a question lingers longer than an answer. Picture this, you're in a room full of voices. Everyone's talking, analyzing, proving themselves. You're just sitting there watching. Someone turns to you and asks, "Why are you so quiet?" And you simply smile. That moment when you didn't speak is the moment they wanted to know you more. It reminds you of Armas. She seduces with silence, with her gaze, her distance, her ambiguity. Not with noise, not with performance. When she enters a scene, everything slows down. Not because of what she says, but because you don't know what she's thinking. And that not knowing pulls you in. But here's what most people miss. When Anna moved to the US, she didn't speak English. She was 26, fresh from Cuba, and learned her second language by watching Friends. No classes, no tutors, just repetition and TV. And now, she stands on the stage of Saturday Night Live, commanding attention with the charisma of her silence. That means charisma isn't just genetic. It's built. It's practiced. It rises from the depth of not knowing. But let me be clear, the charisma of not knowing is not the same as ignorance. Not knowing and wanting to learn, that's power. But pretending to know, or staying silent out of fear, that's not charisma. That's passivity. Charismatic not knowing is a choice. It's knowing and choosing not to reveal. It's letting others discover you, rather than explaining yourself. This kind of not knowing is seductive in emotional, artistic, and relational spaces. But in critical decisions, toxic relationships, or moments that demand clarity, silence can be dangerous. So it's a dance. A rhythm between revealing and withholding. Between knowing and choosing not to show. And if you master that dance, you hold a charisma no one can imitate. Robert Greene has a law in the art of seduction. Keep them in suspense what comes next, and that's exactly what you can do. Let them guess. Let them wait. Let them wonder what's next. Because when they don't know, they want to know more. And that wanting, that curiosity is your seduction. Maybe you think if you don't speak, you won't be seen. Maybe you fear your silence will be mistaken for weakness. But if you're always talking, when do you get to be felt? You're like the moon. Not seen because of your light, but because of your shadows. Not because you're complete, but because there's always something left to discover. If you've always believed you had to speak more to be seen, maybe it's time to discover the charisma of your silence. Maybe it's time to realize that you without explanation are already enough. Not for censorship, but for revelation. Just look. Let your silence speak. Let your gaze ask the questions. Let not knowing make you more magnetic. Because real charisma lives in that moment when you don't know what to say. And yet you're still seen. Your charisma might live in the very place you've tried to hide. In the quiet part. The ambiguous part. The part that's still unfinished. Which part of you is most visible when you're silent? Remember that moment. That was you. And it still is. If you've ever felt the power of silence, share it in the comments. Let this conversation continue. This video isn't about Anna. It's about you. About the woman who can, through her silence, her ambiguity, her not knowing, be louder than any voice. And if you've felt that charisma, the next episode will be about the charisma of contrast. When softness and danger dance together.